Welcome back, I'm Chaylo Laurino, and I play Captain Xavier, obviously. And this video is sort of the plans for the future of my channel and Nerf in general video, and possibly a call for aid. We'll see how it goes. Enough people have mentioned that I am a positive influence in the Nerf community, and that I am, all the things that they like in Nerf and all of that. And I've decided that I want to expand upon that, essentially. There are a lot of things that I'd like to see happen in the Nerf community, a lot of changes I would love to see, and I realize the only way that they're ever going to happen is if I help make them happen. Be the change that you want to see in the world. So, I'm planning to try to start doing that on the local level. My goal is to create the kind of community and environment that I would really like to see our hobby become. And the first step to that is creating a true Nerf maker space. My shop currently already is one, kind of, but on a small and inefficient scale. There just isn't enough room here anymore to do what I'd really like to do, which is to be able to host truly functional mod parties where whole new people could be brought in and have all the tools and everything that they would need to really get into the hobby all in one go, and then a place where they can come to expand and work on. And to do that, I'd need a shop about 4 times the size of this at least. I also want to be able to host very specific types of events, competitive events for the guys who really go all out in their modding, and we currently don't really have an outlet around here for them to be able to truly compete against each other, because our usual wars are designed to pretty much nullify advantages like that. We balance the teams very, very well, or the game types are in such a way that one person having a really good blaster isn't going to make that big of a difference for game balance reasons. And I like that. I want those games to stay the way they are, but I also want the guys who are really into, fully tricking out their Caliburn or their Rapid Strike or whatever to have somewhere where they can actually have the advantage that they've created and be able to be competitive with it. And so I want to have a place that has a big enough shop to create a true worker space, to have at least 6 full workstations with all of the tools that you would need, a soldering station, screwdrivers, all of that, as well as all of, my power tools, on a separate area, that, a communal area. And I want to be able to set up my own Nerf war field and arena for competitive play, as well as to just be able to host small wars. I could probably, I'm hoping to be able to host at least, a 50-person war, which is about the size of our usual events. And from there, I want to expand and hopefully, spread that concept throughout the whole community and get similar places set up that people can go to, that events can be held at. I want to be able to host, like I said, small wars, parties for kids, like the ones that I did for Christmas, and that kid's birthday party. More events like that. I'd like to get involved with this, various scout troops and have them come and use it as a learning opportunity to learn, responsible use of milsim type stuff, because Nerf is a form of milsim, and there is, safety and responsibility that goes along with that in, keeping yourself and the hobby safe in general. And I'd like to, to teach that and to probably live stream that sorts of things as well. So even if you couldn't make it, you could still partake. And the same thing with the mod parties, or specific build events. Okay, I'm going to get a whole bunch of people together, and we're all going to build this same thing. We're going to fully trick out a clear shot, brass breach, K26, all that. Everybody goes through all of the steps and stream that, so people at home can mod along with it as well. Have parts lists available and techniques and tools that would be required for this build, and then live stream the whole event so that anybody anywhere could do this along with us. Yeah, that kind of thing. I'd like to do, themed wars, holiday wars, Halloween war or Christmas war, or stuff like that are specifically themed for fun and silliness. Probably need to heavily get Beret involved in that and that sort of thing. And pretty much everything that goes on in the worker space would be filmed or streamed so that anybody can learn from it. I'd also really like to start getting involved in more of the big events. Obviously, I did West vs. Zombies, and I do Afterworlds, and I'm going to Ragnarok Oktoberfest, and I'm being invited to cons. I'd love to be able to go to End War and Armageddon and all of these other big events that are out there, and be involved in that. And I also want to start organizing my own big events up at the forts, Fort Worden and Fort Flagler. I'd love to do a National Invitational War or HVZ at one of those. I would love to get Titan Ball to become a national Nerf sport, and have all of the different clubs do Titan Ball at their wars. And really the only way that that's going to happen is if I start mass producing Titan rockets for everybody, and I would like to do that, and have standardized rules and create Titan Ball leagues and possibly meet up at the big events and do a big game of Titan Ball before or after whatever, and that kind of thing. And I definitely want to get involved in the 5v5 fast flag competitive stuff. Not personally, I don't want to compete, but I want to help organize those events and get that standardized and possibly nationalized, and create leagues or whatnot of some sort, and have a lot more inter-club play for sharing ideas, sharing scenarios, sharing mod tips, and hopefully linking up. And I'd like to do a lot more collaborations on my channel with a lot of the big names. Walcom and Beret I obviously already do stuff with. Occasionally I do stuff with the Curator. I'd like to start reaching out to the bigger ones, because I've met Aaron Esser and PDK, and I've met Drac and Coop, and I'd love to be involved in stuff that they're doing, either have them come visit me, or have them come to one of the big events that I host, or me go to them, that sort of thing. And so to make all this happen, that's where the possible support and aid from you guys may become necessary, or at least it would certainly help. It wouldn't be necessary, but it would definitely speed things up. Because the first thing I need is a bigger place. And I've been wanting to buy my own place for a while now, because my real world job became permanent and it's now stable, and I can settle down and find a place and make it my own. And I've looked into the various options around here, and there are places that will fit all of my needs. Places with enough land and a big enough shop that I could set this up and do it locally. But to do it on my own would require at least a year, maybe 2 years of saving up for the down payment to be able to acquire the land and the property and all of that. And so that's where, I'm considering reaching out to you guys. I've had a Patreon since I started my channel, but I never actually published it because I didn't need it. At first I was worried I wasn't going to create enough content. That clearly hasn't been a problem. And then it was a point of I didn't need it. The channel was making enough money that it wasn't a problem. But if I create this worker space in order to keep it stocked, if I'm having the kind of events I'm going to want, that is going to take money, to buy more motors and switches and wires and blasters and all of that. So that's one thing that the Patreon would probably, hopefully, go towards the continual funding of the worker space. And then I'm considering creating a GoFundMe to help with the down payment, because that's a large chunk of cash all at once. The other option was to contact, and I already reached out to them, to contact one of the sponsor management companies. I've been contacted by a couple already who are saying, hey, we love what your channel is going, you seem to be, the kind of thing we'd want to have on our company, and, the first couple of ones are like, I don't think I'm big enough for it, it wouldn't be worth any of our time. And the second one that reached out to me, or a big one that reached out to me, and I seriously considered it, but again, decided I wasn't ready to make that leap with my channel. And then the most recent one was actually the company that also does the sponsorship management for Drac and Coop and PDK, and you're like, okay, you probably would know, the audience that I'm going for and the kind of sponsors that would be interested in my channel and all of that. And so I've considered, signing on with them and seeing what kind of capital that can bring in, or opportunities for travel, because that was one thing they discussed, was having sponsors that send me to events. And, I announced I'm going to this event and I'm sponsored by so-and-so, and then afterwards I went to this event and here's how it happened, it was awesome, and I was sponsored by so-and-so. And, they would pay for the travel and all of that. And then other, just doing commercials, because currently all of the review stuff I do, it's all, they send me the item, I do a video, I get to keep the item, but there's no money involved. At this point, there would probably actually be potentially money involved. And again, the goal being to be able to get that down payment, to be able to buy a place large enough to start this, to get this going, because our hobby could become so much more than it is now, and that's what I'm really hoping to get started. So that is what I'm hoping to do. Let me know if you guys think it's even remotely appropriate for me to be reaching out to you guys to create a GoFundMe for, to be able to get this off the ground. I really would just be going for the down payment for the property. After that, I can, I have a real job. It pays the bills. But it's that initial down payment that is the stumbling block, that I can't really get any of this going until I get to that point. So that is what I'm aiming for. If you guys think this is something you would be willing to support, or that you think it's a good idea, or you think it's a horrible idea, or I'm selling out and it'll ruin me, let me know. Let's discuss it and see where we can take this, because this is an awesome hobby that when I first got into it, I had no idea it would get me to where I am, or that it was what it was, and I'm really, really enjoying it, and I've decided to finally take the full plunge and go all in on this. So let me know what you guys think, what you guys would like to do, what you guys would like to see, and we will see where we go from there. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for watching.